been seasoning steaks and pork chops, actually, and then vacuum packing them and freezing them.
Well, here's what I know. It makes sense. It takes a long time for salt to penetrate. So you salt the meat, vacuum pack it, throw it in the freezer. It's going to be getting into the meat for an hour or so. When you pull it out, and then you do the 15-minute defrost and then sous vide, again, that's another hour, hour and a half. So you get about a couple hours or so of salt in contact with the meat that's not frozen or fully cooked.
Right.
So, yeah, that makes perfect sense. The salt's penetrating. The meat's going to hold on to liquid better. That's what salt does. That's why brining works.
Wow, Richard, thank you for all that homework.
Yeah, well, it was fun. It was fun. And my family enjoyed it, too.
So I have a question. Who got to eat the good steak?
My daughter.
Now that's a dad. Good for you.
She wins most of the time.
They always win. What do you mean most of the time?
Yeah.
So anyway, good for you, Richard.
Richard, thank you.
We're going to test it too.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just enjoy everything I hear on your show. So thanks a lot.
Take care.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
You're listening to Milk Street Radio. Now it's time for some culinary wisdom from one of our listeners.
Hi, my name is Steve, and my culinary tip is a non-invasive way to tell the doneness of red meat on the fire. Growing up with deaf people in my family, I learned sign language at a young age, and so when I was asked to interpret for a local culinary college here in New York, I jumped at the chance. Interpreting for deaf students meant that we had to invent some signs specific to what they were learning. One of those things was related to the doneness of red meat on the fire. And this technique works for hearing people as well. Take your non-dominant hand, palm up, and touch the tip of your thumb with the tip of your index finger, and then with your other hand, feel that fleshy part at the base of your thumb. See how soft it is. Progress onto your middle finger, your ring finger, your little finger, while you touch that fleshy part at the base of your non-dominant thumb. That corresponds to the feel of the doneness of meat on the grill. Interestingly, as a side note, those hand shapes of touching thumb to index, middle, ring, and little finger correspond to sign language signs for the numbers 9, 8, 7, and 6. So when an order came in, all we had to do was sign a number, and that corresponded to a level of doneness on the meat. Try it for yourself. It works well.
By the way, if you'd like to share your own cooking tip right here on Milk Street Radio, please go to 177milkstreet.com/radio tips. Right now, it's time for a language lesson with Grant Baird, net host of A Way with Words. Martha and Grant, what's up?
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Chris, today we're peeling back the mysteries of the onion. You know, the 19th century novelist Charles Dudley Warner once observed, an onion in its satin wrappings is among the most beautiful of vegetables.
So are we going to get the mysteries of the universe in a red onion here?
Something like that.
But yeah, the onion is a metaphor for layers upon layers, is legendary. And the end of that Charles Dudley Warner quote is, you take off coat after coat and the onion is still there. It really just begs to be turned into simile and metaphor.
I just, if I were a poet or writer and you had to pick a vegetable to write about, would you pick the onion?
People pick fruit usually, right? The plum, the apple, the pear.
Yeah, there you go.
But if you're writing, think about all the different layers. In fact, the notion of multiple layers may have inspired the vegetable onion.
And how does onion mean multiple layers?
Well, onion originally comes from Latin unio, which meant oneness or unity. Isn't it beautiful?
Right, which is the opposite of multiple layers.
Well, it's all those layers right there in one vegetable.
So this is like the
It's just period.
significant other is full of layers.
Absolutely.
And they claim they're really simple.
And sometimes it makes you cry, yes.
Going back to this is just
Well, the ancient Romans, Paulus actually claimed that the onion was called unio because it didn't produce any shoots. It was just one single entity. So it's a very, very old idea. But the word unio in ancient Rome was just used informally. The more common term in ancient Rome was kippa, which gave us the modern word cebolla in Spanish and cipolla in Italian. And then a form of uniono, passed through Old French and came to us as onion in English.
So let's just throw out all this Latin, though. If you get tired of calling them onions and you don't want to deal with this Latin, you can always call them skunk eggs.
What? Where's that from?
Apparently it's old cowboy slang. Or
Really?
Horton apples.
Skunk eggs. Okay, that's a new one on me.
Yeah, skunk eggs, you know, sort of like prairie strawberries, which are beans, right? They have all that cowboy slang for those kinds of things.